Praise the Lord. My name is Dr. Roosevelt Robinson Jr., and I just self-published a book entitled God's Favor, My Wife. This book was prophesied by my apostle many years ago that said, I will write this book and it will bless many. I want you to go pick you up a copy. This book will inspire you, encourage you, and bless your soul. If you're seeking for salvation, if you're seeking for a closer walk with God, if you're looking for ideas for your youth ministry, if you're looking for that husband or searching for that husband or wife that God has promised you or that you desire, this book will inspire you, encourage you, and help you on your journey with God. Go to barnesandnoble.com, that's bn.com or amazon.com, and pick you up a copy. I guarantee it will bless you. I have shared my experience and my testimony of how I met my wife and we got married, and how I have gained favor down through the years being married to my wife. Be blessed.
We're grateful for who God is. That list of names given, holy and mighty and all of that, that's just the beginning of things. When Jesus was jousting with the Pharisees, Jesus made it clear to them that when you start talking about me, you're talking about something that surpasses Abraham. Because before Abraham was, he said, my name is I am. In other words, when you open up the book to look at all of the good things that a person can possibly be mighty and triumphant and awesome and holy, he says that that's just the beginning of it. He had to close the book.
Who am I, America? My name is Dr. Roosevelt Robinson Jr. I was born and raised in Swansea, South Carolina. In elementary school, I went to school. I learned a lot and I was influenced a lot by my teachers. My parents, I had two parents, my mother and father raised me. I had a sister. She was like 6 years younger than me, and we were very close. In elementary school, I learned that I had a writing skill. In elementary school, by third grade, our teacher gave us an assignment to write a composition on what would you do to improve the world. And I wrote a composition on how I would clean up the world from all trash and pollution and mess. And I won that composition competitive thing that we were in. I won the Lieutenant Governor's Award for excellence in composition. My mother and father were a great influence in my life. They always told me to study and make good grades and do good in life and always be respectful of my elders. And they taught my sister and I that. And I was always respectful. I was always, as a young man, young boy growing up, I was always shy. I was alone. I kept to myself in school. I didn't have many friends. My mother and father was there in my life. My mother was a great influence. She always there, and she always encouraged me. My father, he worked hard. He worked at a steel company. He always worked to provide for his family. And I took on his ways. I'm a good provider today because of who my father was. We went to church. My mother took us to church every Sunday. And I was raised up in the church. I learned that I had the gift to sing, but I didn't use it until I got in high school because I was so shy. I didn't like to get up and talk in front of people, a crowd of people, or sing or nothing because I was shy. I didn't want to get up in front of people and talk and express myself. And so I was raised in the country. I'm a country boy. In middle school, I came out a little bit and came out of my shyness and quietness and loneliness, and I began to make friends and open up a little bit and clown around and to make friends and to be a part of the in crowd. I grew out of that shyness a little bit, had a lot of friends, and I was often tempted to do things like smoke and maybe drink and go out to clubs, but I was still in my parents' house, so wasn't able to. They didn't allow you to hang around and hang with people and go to people's houses and go places and like other kids would go out and be able to go out and things. We were not allowed to do that. One time I got to go out and go to when I was in high school, when I started being a part of the marching band. I was part of the marching band. I played trumpet in high school. I was part of the marching band, and we had games. And my parents allowed me to, I got my driver's license. I drove bus in school, in high school. Got my driver's license that allowed me to drive to school sometime. And sometimes, I had to drive to my games to be a part of the band. And that's when it started giving me freedom to, go and to be out amongst friends and, do things. And so I played on the band, the trumpet, marching band, made friends, kind of around a little lot, but I always got my own work done. I was in AP classes in high school. I made good grades, made the honor roll at times. And, my parents were a great influence. They always told me to do good and you prosper in life. Keep God first. Always do the right thing. They were great influences in my life. And in high school, I started working at fast food restaurants. I started meeting people there. And I started getting into things that I shouldn't have gotten in. I started, hanging with the fellas and smoking, weed and drinking alcoholic beverages and just hanging out, going to parties, and all the things that teenagers did back in my day. But I didn't let it consume me. I didn't get caught up in drugs and things. I had the opportunity, but thank God one of my friends said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to get involved with that. So that was the grace of God that kept me from, being hooked on or getting caught up in drugs. And so, I had a lot of good days in my coming up as a young boy and a teenager, and I had some bad days, but my parents were always there. Always had parents in my life, and I thank God for that, for their love and their guidance and their support. My sister and I have two sisters. One is 6 years younger than me, and I'm 14 years older than my baby sister. And my sister and I were close. We did things together. We always, played and talked, and she followed in my footsteps. My baby's footsteps, followed in my footsteps. She played the trumpet in high school when she started school. Because I played it. She saw me play it. My sister, she was a very intelligent young lady, and she would always try to follow my example. So I try to set a good example for both of my sisters. And I just thank God, for my upbringing, and I thank God for what He's brought me and what I'm in today. I'm author today because of the teacher that gave me that opportunity to write, and I won that Lieutenant Governor's Award for Excellence in Composition. And I'm an author now today because of my excellent writing skills and how my teachers influenced me. Who am I, America? Again, my name is Dr. Roosevelt Robinson Jr. In high school, I learned that I had a gift of singing. Well, I learned that as a young boy. I knew I could always sing, but I started singing in church in the usher board. I came out of that shyness, hanging with friends and, growing up and just maturing. And I began to sing in church on the usher board. And so I knew I had to get to sing. I was very, very musical inclined. I told you I was on the marching band. I played trumpet in the marching band. I could play the drums a little bit. Tried to learn to play the keyboard, but I never did pursue that. And in high school, I drove bus. So I did a lot of things, had some hang with a lot of friends and met a lot of friends, started working in fast food restaurants and meeting a lot of people. And I knew that one day I would be a singer, a gospel recording artist. That was always a dream in my heart, to sing and share my gift with the world, because God told me that as a little boy. I mentioned before earlier that God told me that one day I'll be singing, I'll be a gospel artist, singing and traveling on the world, sharing my gift of singing, doing what other gospel artists are doing today and back then. And that dream has come true. I was blessed to release an EP entitled Here We Are, under my artist name, Frankie Robinson. So in my high school days, I always knew that I was going to be a singer one day. That was always in my heart and my spirit. After high school, graduated, I went to South Carolina State College for 2 years. But then something tragic happened during that time when I was in college. I lost my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. She was very dear to me. She was like the strong person of the family, the strongest person I know, but she always kept us great. She helped raise us, because while my parents went to work, my maternal grandmother would keep all her children's, my mother's sisters and brothers' children, while they went to work. And so we all was raised up by her during the weekdays, and we were always around her, going to church. We went to her church, grew up in the church, singing and serving in the church. And she was like the stronghold for the family, and that was a blow to me. I never lost anyone that close to me before. And so my grades started slipping. I couldn't get myself together. I was depressed. I was down. I had no one to talk to back then. Nobody could talk to me, to express what I was going through, what I was feeling. And so I kind of shied away from college. I was always still working at a fast food restaurant at Burger King, and I had my own vehicle then, working bought my own vehicle. I was driving back and forth to school. I stayed on campus my first year at South Carolina State University. My second year, I just drove back and forth from home and continued to work. And so I shied away from that. And so in college, that first year in college, I began to meet a lot of people, a lot of young people that, were saved, and they tried to get me to become saved and come to a Bible study session they had on campus. And I was like, no, because, in high school, and I told you I was working, I met a lot of people that I loved to hang out, and I met people, and we began to party and drink and smoke and, do weed like most teenagers do today or back in that day. And so I was in the prime of my life, and I wanted to just be free and have fun and just live my life the way I choose to, but God said not so. In college, he began to bring people in my pathway. I know he was tugging on me and pulling on my heart. I began to meet so many people, even some of my friends that I was hanging with, my associates, they got saved in the church, and they testified to me and encouraged me to give my life to Christ and live for God, and to use the gift that God has blessed me with. And I was like, no, in my mind, no, I'm not ready yet. I just got free from I'm out of my parents' house, living my life, making my own money. I just want to do what I want to do right now. I'm too early. I'm in the prime of my life. Maybe one day, I'll get back in church and, do what God's calling me to do. But not right now. I just got free. I just graduated from high school. I'm out of my parents' house. And so, in that time, who am I, America? In that time, I was trying to figure out what I want to be in life. And I went to college for electrical engineering. That was my major. But that's not really what I wanted to do. I just did it because that's what most people were saying. You make money, you make a lot of money. We was in high school, we was trying to fill out applications for college and stuff. Engineers make a lot of money. So that's what I was pursuing that year at South Carolina State College. And so, I told you my grandmama died and my grades started slipping, and I kind of shied away from college life. And God saved me. I finally gave in and got saved when I was 20 years old. And that gave me some purpose and vision. Began to seek the Lord, and he called me to preach. And that was a really shock, because I never had no idea in my spirit, in my mind, that I was going to be a preacher one day. And so that was a shock to me. But God called me to preach, and I did my trial sermon at age of 23. I went to Christian college in 1999 when I got married. I met my wife, and I went to finish school, and I got my bachelor's in pastoral counseling. I got my theology degree, master in theology, and I got a doctor of divinity degree. I pursued college, and I got my degrees. I met my wife when I got saved. I was seeking God for a wife, and God showed me who my wife was. Got married, went back to school, got my degrees, and serving in the church. My apostles told me one day that I would write a book how I met my wife, and because it was a great testimony how I met my wife. And that's all in the book. I don't want to go through that now, but you can get my book. It's titled God's Favor, My Wife. I'm author today because of that prophecy from my apostle. I couldn't see it back then, but now I see what she was saying, and it's come to pass. Praise God. And that's who I am, America. I'm an independent gospel recording artist that God allowed to release an EP entitled Here We Are, and I'm an artist named Frankie Robinson. I'm an author, Dr. Roosevelt Robinson Jr., with a book entitled God's Favor, My Wife. God allowed me to write and share my experiences and my experiences in the church, how I got saved. Everything is in that book, how I got saved, how I met my wife, things I went through, how I gained favor, being married to my wife, and it will bless you. The book tells it all. I can't tell it all right now, but if you get your copy of my book, you'll see, and I start from when I was a child until today. It explained, and it'll share and inspire and encourage you and let you know all about my life in that book, God's Favor, My Wife. So I encourage you to get your copy. And that's who I am, America. My book will tell it all. Who am I, America? I'm just a little country boy that was raised up in the country, that God placed some dreams in my heart, inspirations, and He brought it to pass. He called me to preach. I'm a preacher. Been preaching for over 28 years now. He blessed me to get married. I'm a married man. I've been married 23 years in June this month. I'm an independent gospel recording artist that God spoke to me as a little boy, said I will be doing this when you get older. And I am. God brought it to pass. I'm an independent gospel recording artist, and I am an author today because of that. Inspirations from my teachers in elementary school, but I won that Excellence in Composition Award, Lieutenant Governor's Award in Excellence in Composition. That's who I am, America. An old country boy, saved, and fulfill his dreams through the grace of God.
Praise the Lord. My name is Dr. Roosevelt Robinson Jr., and I just self-published a book entitled God's Favor, My Wife. This book was prophesied by my apostle many years ago that said, I will write this book and it will bless many. I want you to go pick you up a copy. This book will inspire you, encourage you, and bless your soul. If you're seeking for salvation, if you're seeking for a closer walk with God, if you're looking for ideas for your youth ministry, if you're looking for that husband or searching for that husband or wife that God has promised you or that you desire, this book will inspire you, encourage you, and help you on your journey with God. Go to barnesandnoble.com, that's bn.com, or amazon.com, and pick you up a copy. I guarantee it will bless you. I have shared my experience and my testimony of how I met my wife and we got married, and how I have gained favor down through the years being married to my wife. Be blessed.
Nikki Berry has released her highly anticipated new single, Grace and Mercy. This energizing song of praise will pick you up every time you hear it. Nikki brings dynamic vocals in this message of inspiration while shining a light on God's amazing grace and mercy. Her thought-provoking lyrics brings you to a place of pure gratefulness. Grace and Mercy is available on all digital platforms, so download it and add it to your playlist today. You can also watch the new music video on the Nikki Berry Music YouTube channel.
Grace is sufficient, oh yes, covers me in the middle of my mess. Even in the midst of a storm, only you can comfort with your loving arms. The kind of grace that lasts always.
Gabriella Nalvin has written a delightful children's book entitled Athena, The Adventures of a Fearless Dragon. This is a heartwarming story about a little dragon born with her 2 back feet missing. And during her journey across the country, searching for a new home, she and her brothers learn to work together to survive while strengthening their sibling bond. Athena, The Adventures of a Fearless Dragon is now available on digital